Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Wholehearted Healing with Jo. We are going to be talking about the number one reason you haven't hit your health and wellness goals. So, actually, if you were on my Instagram, I did a little poll to see if you guys would be interested in the theme, I guess, of this. So, if you guys want kind of input on some of the topics that I talk about, definitely obviously shoot me a message on Instagram, or again, if you follow me on Instagram, then you can sometimes get an input on the stories if I post them. But yeah, we're basically going to be talking about why you haven't hit your goals. And it's kind of there's kind of like one reason or one theme, and that is self-reflection or self-awareness. So lately in my life, I've kind of been diving into a lot of this actually, for my own healing and my own journey. And really we're going to talk a lot about the physical body, but and that's obviously a lot of what I talk about, but you can apply this in any aspect of your life, any aspect that you're looking to heal. So yeah, I've been going through a lot lately, reflecting a lot, trying to kind of slow down. I haven't been as active on my Instagram and posting and that sort of thing recently. It's been 10 days since I posted a podcast episode. But yeah, there's kind of, there's been a lot going on. I've been tired, to be truthfully honest, and I do try to give myself the rest that I need. That's something I'm continually been trying to work on here in my life, is just not burning myself out. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but so yeah, obviously you guys can follow me on Instagram if we're looking at we're going to get into some housekeeping things, but follow me on Instagram. It's johanna.padalino. The handle for that is down below, and the link for that is down below in the show notes, as well as my Mindful Woman program is open right now. So if you're looking to heal your physical body, gain more self-awareness, more self-empowerment, just overall feel really good in your body and just healthy, it's a 12-week journey where we connect kind of the mind, the body, the soul, so that you can truly feel alive and come back home to yourself. So really about feeling good in your body and feeling confident in your body. So whether you're dealing with long-term chronic symptoms, or again, you're just, wanting to hit certain goals or wanting to feel a certain way in your body, this is the journey where we work on that. And so the application form will be down below, as well as you can reach out to me on Instagram, and I'll give you the link for it as well. So I want to start by talking about this episode, or start by asking you in this episode, what is it that you're trying to heal, right? What are you working on? What are you trying to move towards, and what are you trying to move away from, right? So what is it that what's your goal, right? This could be, I don't know, wanting to lose weight, right? Wanting to move towards weight loss and moving away from a certain way of eating or certain habits, right? Or it could be, wanting to be moving away from stress, and moving towards more peace and calm in your life, right? So just kind of thinking about, if you're driving, obviously you're just thinking, but if you're working through this with me, or you're listening to this and you're able to write things down, you can either, pause this and kind of reflect on that a little bit, or you can do so after. So yeah, what is it that you're trying to heal right now? And I think this is one thing where we kind of know our goals. We know what we maybe want. Some of us really just actually know what we don't want. We don't really know what we do want, right? There's kind of this, it depends how you're looking at it. Some of us know both. But when we're looking at self-reflection, we're looking at awareness. This is a big reason why people aren't getting the results that they want. And they're not getting the results that they want because they don't have this awareness, right? They're unconsciously moving through life. And so obviously, if we have a goal, let's say our goal is to decrease our stress. And so we realize, okay, I want to get away from stress, but I want to want to move into this place of calm, move into this place of ease. So we have to be self-aware, obviously, in just that regard, knowing what we want. Now, the next thing we have to take a look at is, what are the habits that we're participating in? So if we are, continually, scrolling Instagram, let's say, as a habit, right? One we kind of get locked into. Most people know I shouldn't be doing that, right? We have these things. It's like eating well and changing our diet. We know we shouldn't go and eat the cookie, but we do, right? So there's habits that we need to be aware of. Sometimes these are super obvious. Other times they're not. So for stress, if we use that example, you may be aware of like, okay, yeah, my sleep schedule is a disaster. And I have financial stress and, whatever. But maybe you're not aware of the fact that like you have a really unhealthy relationship that you're a part of, or that like adds to your stress. Or maybe you're unaware of how your work and your career influence, the amount of stress that you have. Or maybe it's your coping skills, or just, you know what I mean? Like, how much are you nourishing yourself? How much are you giving yourself time and space to relax, right? So it's being aware of like, obviously, our habits that we do participate in, but it's also having the awareness of our entire life and how is it a reflection of that, right? Like, how are we living a stressful life, and what's all incorporated in that? So then you can take it a layer deeper. And let's say you're like, wow, yeah, I notice like every time I go to work and I come home, I'm just like stressed to the max, right? And then I go and have a vacation or a week off, or the weekend happens and I feel good, right? So that time away from the stress, makes you realize, okay, yeah, that's the stressful thing. So then it's figuring out, why is that situation stressful? What's going on there? How's it making you feel, right? And I think that this is where people don't. There's a lot of clients actually that come in and see me, and clients that I talk to about just, okay, they're having X, Y, and Z symptoms, and they're not able to relate the symptoms back to their life, right? And there's just not that deeper awareness. And this comes with time, and you have to give yourself time and space to be able to self-reflect. But this is huge, because there's a lot of like reasons as to why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. It's a sign, it's a symbol, it's a synchronicity, right? Whatever. But it's very much like, I'm experiencing this for a bigger reason, especially if things aren't going away, right? So if you've been trying to hit your goals and you got bad habits, but you just can't seem to get over those bad habits, there's something deeper there. There's a reason why. A lot of times it's an emotional root, right? And so by doing more self-reflection, we can actually get to the reason why we're not hitting our goals. Even in my clinical practice, if I have some people where they are like experiencing, some sort of health issue or a symptom or whatever, and I will ask them, did anything happen in your life in around that time that, could be related, right? A stressful event, or maybe it was like you went through a big move, or maybe you quit your job, or there was a breakup, or like, right? Like was there anything that could have attributed? And sometimes it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't have to make sense, but it's like, okay, yeah, like, I started getting this back pain right after I went through that breakup. And so it's like, that's kind of a weird timeline synchronicity, right? Timelines are big for me. I find like it can be a big telltale of like, what's the driving force, or what was the change that happened in order for you to feel a certain way or to start acting a certain way, right? So again, just having that self-awareness, taking time to reflect of like, okay, if I'm dealing with this, when did it start, and what else was going on in my life, or what has been going on in my life? And how did I feel in those situations, right? How do I emotionally feel when I am stressed? All of those types of things, right? And so by being more self-reflective, we gain more self-awareness, obviously, right? Because we're just naturally more aware of what's going on. We gain self-empowerment. We're naturally just more in tune with ourselves, and therefore we trust our bodies, right? We trust our intuition, we trust our gut instincts about things because we see the connections, and then we, over time, are proven correct in those things. So right now, for example, I'm going through some healing stuff, and I'm having to really self-reflect on like why I'm in this situation to begin with. Like, how am I contributing to my own suffering in a way, right? And not to put blame on myself and not to make myself feel bad about these things, but to recognize it and reflect on those things so that I can move forward, right? And so that I can create a change. And that's really what we're looking for when it comes to our health and our healing and hitting our goals, is like, how do I make a change in order for me to overcome this obstacle or this way of being that I don't want to participate in anymore? And so that's really what self-reflection gives you, is it gives you this ability to honestly take a look at yourself, but also get to the root cause, if you will, of why you're in this situation in the first place. And then it empowers you and gives you the ability to make a change, right? So this is why I feel most people are still suffering. They're either just sitting in the suffering and they're making excuses, or they know what they're doing and they're just making themselves feel bad about it. Trust me, we've all been there. But they're like, oh yeah, these are my habits I have to change, and that's as far as they go, and they don't kind of look at even deeper as to like why you're even participating in those habits. There's usually, like I said, an emotional piece to that. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about self-reflection. It's huge. It's a thing that we have to learn how to do. It can be hard. It can be challenging. It doesn't mean you have to sit in silence all the time either. It doesn't mean you have to like meditate. Journaling is actually a really good way, just because you can kind of get your thoughts out. I like journaling. I don't do it enough. I'm trying to incorporate that a bit more, but journaling, I like to kind of like get my thoughts out on the paper, and it feels like I kind of almost like release that a little bit from my body, but it helps me kind of organize it as well. I'm just like a very mentally driven person in that sense. But yeah, like, what can you do to help yourself self-reflect? Maybe it's just having, I know sometimes I get overstimulated with just like podcasts and noise and this and that. And it's like maybe, just shutting off the music and shutting off the podcasts and being in a quiet space. You can still be doing stuff, but you're in a quiet space, right? So just learning ways that you can be more self-reflective will be important. Again, journaling is really good. And so with that, again, you can go back to that question that I asked in the beginning, is what is it that you're trying to heal? What are you trying to move towards, and what are you trying to move away from? When you can get clear on that, then you can ask yourself, and I'm going to end this episode with this question, based on those questions before of what you're trying to heal, what needs to change in order for you to heal that? And so you could look at habits for sure, obviously, but take a little step deeper and go, why am I participating in those habits? What do I gain from those, quote unquote, negative habits or patterns that I fall into? What am I benefiting from? And then when you realize, oh, I, scroll social media when I'm stressed because it gives me a dopamine response, right? It makes me feel good. I can kind of just escape. I can ignore reality, right? When you kind of go deeper and you're like, how is that making me feel, right? Like, then you can go, okay, well, how can I give myself that in a different way that's maybe a little bit more healthy, that forms a new healthy habit instead of more of a negative one, if that makes sense. So you can switch up based on knowing what you need. You can then give yourself what you need in a different way, right? Because all of our habits, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, they're always protective. They're always a way to kind of keep us safe, if you will, right? And so it's just figuring out, okay, what am I gaining from it? And then I can switch it. And then again, it'll take time, but that first step of it is self-awareness. That first step of it is knowing, again, why you're in the situation that you're in. So that is the podcast for today. This is something that I go over quite in depthly in the Mindful Woman program. It's a big portion of, I feel, people being able to self-heal and really do healing work is to be and have this awareness. And so I teach that, and I help kind of like guide and prompt things out of you, also like through our one-on-one session that we have to start, as well as throughout the 12 weeks, we go through, the different levels of, depending on what you're working through. I usually find I'm quite good at asking questions to kind of pull things out of people, right? And to kind of get them to think at things a little deeper. And so I'll kind of prompt you throughout the 12 weeks, but also ask questions, and there'll be obviously tools and support for you within the program that will help kind of guide you and help you navigate that through yourself as well. So that is in the Mindful Woman program. If it's something that you're interested in, like I said, you can reach out to me on Instagram, or you can apply to the program down below. It'll be in the show notes. And yeah, self-reflection. Make sure you're doing some of that. It is the first step, I feel, like I said, to healing. You have to first recognize you have a problem, right? So that is what I have for you guys for today. Hopefully I'll be back with another episode soon. I'm kind of starting to get my energy back. But I'm so grateful for you all, and I'm so glad that you've all been here and supporting me and loving the podcast and loving the value. You guys have been sending me some messages talking about how much you've been enjoying them. So I'm so happy that you're gaining some insight and some value out of them. And if you have anything that you'd like to learn about or hear about, again, you can shoot me a message. If you're watching this or listening to this, I should say, on YouTube, you can put a message in the comments down below as well. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy your weekend if you're watching or listening to this on the weekend. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.